Okay, so we wanted to take a look at this court ruling against Google.
Okay.
It seems like it could really change how we use our phones.
Yeah, this is a big one.
And maybe not even just Androids.
It's not just like a slap on the wrist for Google.
Yeah.
This is serious stuff. This ruling, really digs into how Google makes money off of Android.
Yeah.
And it could affect everybody, developers and really anybody who uses apps.
So this really is about more than just a couple lines of code then.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a potential earthquake
Yeah,
in the app world.
Mm-hmm.
And our main source for this deep dive is this news article from the Associated Press with all the details on the judge's decision.
And it's a doozy.
Yeah.
The judge basically said Google has a monopoly, an illegal monopoly with its Play Store. They called it a walled garden. They're controlling the entire ecosystem.
Okay, so Google's saying you can't come in through the back door with another app store?
Nope. Not a chance. The judge is saying that the way Google controls which apps get on your phone and how much they charge for that access, that's a problem.
So this ruling, what kind of changes are we actually talking about here?
Well, the judge is making Google make some serious changes.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about small tweaks here. Think about allowing competing app stores right on Android phones.
Wow.
Yeah, it would be huge.
So I could download apps directly from Amazon or Samsung?
It's possible.
Yeah.
We could be talking about getting apps on your phone looking a lot more like on a computer with options and competition and everything.
That's huge. So instead of that 30% cut that Google takes from developers, things could get interesting.
For sure, developers might actually have a choice in where they sell their apps. Maybe they go with a platform with lower fees.
Which hopefully means cheaper apps for us.
Yeah, one would hope.
But Google makes a ton of money off of those Play Store fees. They can't be happy about this.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just about some lost revenue from app sales. This could impact everything Google does. Developers might not want to just build for Android if there are other options. Yeah. And that could hurt all those other Google services that come with Android phones.
It's like pulling on a loose thread and the whole thing could unravel.
Exactly.
And this whole situation with Google, this isn't happening in a vacuum, is it? This is connected to Epic Games and Fortnite and all of that, right?
It is. There are a lot of similarities.
Right.
Remember that whole battle they had with Apple?
Fortnite versus the App Store.
Exactly. That was big news. And this Google case uses a lot of the same arguments.
Yeah.
They're saying that app stores are monopolies and that they're using unfair practices. Now, Epic Games actually lost their case against Apple.
Right.
But this ruling against Google that shows that this fight for a more open app market is far from over.
So we're talking about a potential power shift here.
Yeah.
But how does this affect the average person? Just someone scrolling through their phone looking for a new game to download.
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? On the surface, this seems like it could be good for people.
Right.
More app stores means more competition.
Right.
Which could mean lower prices.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy.
Right, because changing technology always has these weird side effects that you don't expect.
Exactly.
Especially something this big. So what are the pros and cons here?
Well, one good thing is that you might discover cool new apps that maybe the Play Store wouldn't show you. Or even apps with features that Google doesn't allow right now.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like apps that let you skip in-app purchases or use different ways to pay. Google has all those rules about that stuff.
Right.
But a different app store might be cool with it. It could mean saving money, or at least having more choice in how you use the app.
Okay, so more choice and maybe even lower prices. That's good.
Right.
But you said it wasn't that simple. What's the downside?
Well, security is a big one.
Yeah.
Google checks all the apps in the Play Store really carefully.
Right.
They get rid of anything that looks bad or dangerous. But with these other app stores, you don't really know.
So it's more likely I download something bad that could steal my info or give my phone a virus or something.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. The other app stores would have to prove that they care about security just as much as Google says they do.
Oh.
And think about just using your phone with all these app stores.
Yeah.
Will you have to keep switching between them to find stuff?
Right.
What about updates? It could be a mess.
Yeah, a million app stores sounds cool, but only if I can actually find what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
And what about the developers? This has to be a nightmare for them too, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
They're stuck in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
With all these different app stores, where do they even put their app?
Right.
Do they pick just one? Do they try to get on all of them? And how do they make sure people even see their app?
It's like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Especially for the smaller developers.
Exactly. And that could actually hurt users too. Well, if developers can't reach people or have to spread themselves too thin, then they can't come up with new ideas.
So it's a trade-off then.
Mm.
On one hand, more choices and cheaper prices,
Hmm.
but then also maybe less security and a confusing experience. And it might even hurt the developers in the long run.
Exactly. And remember, this Google thing could affect way more than just Android phones.
Really?
This is about how we think about app stores in general and how much power these big tech companies have.
So what happens if the Google could decide the future of all app stores?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even the ones on iPhones.
Wow.
And it's bigger than just app stores, too. This is about antitrust laws and the power of big tech.
You're right.
The EU is already doing a lot about this, and it looks like the US might be next.
So this isn't just about one company or one court case then?
Nope. This is about how we see these huge tech companies and how much power we're going to let them have.
Wow.
It's a big deal.
This is kind of exciting though, right? This whole like power shift thing, this ruling against Google, it feels like maybe these big tech companies aren't so untouchable after all.
It really feels like things are changing. Something's happening with these tech giants. The ground is shifting under their feet.
Yeah.
And this whole thing with Epic Games, the EU stepping in, it's a new era.
So like fast forward 5 years, 10 years, what does all this look like? What's the end game?
That's the big question, isn't it? Well, one possibility is that we see a less centralized internet. You know, instead of just a few companies controlling everything,
Right.
instead of those walled gardens we were talking about, we might have something totally different, more variety, more chaos, but maybe even more new ideas too.
So instead of like a shopping mall, it'll be more like a big open market. You got
Right.
those big name brands, but also like independent sellers and maybe even some street performers thrown in just for fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. There will be some bumps in the road, though.
Mhm.
It'll be confusing sometimes,
Yeah.
having to keep track of different apps and privacy settings, maybe even different ways to pay.
Yeah, I could see that.
But if there's more competition, that means everyone's going to be trying to make the best stuff.
True.
Small companies, even brand new ones, could actually compete with the big guys.
It's like the Wild West of the internet all over again.
Uh-huh.
But this time, it's not about who's got the fastest dial-up connection.
Right.
It's about who's got the best apps and the most secure platforms and all that.
That's a really good point. And it's not just about the technology either. This could change everything. How we get information, how we talk to each other, how we do business. It's a whole new digital world.
This is a lot to think about. So if there's just one thing we want listeners to take away from all of this, what would it be?
That nothing's set in stone. Just because a few big companies control things now doesn't mean it has to stay that way. This ruling, all these challenges to the status quo, it shows that things can change.
And it shows that we actually have some say in this.
Exactly.
We're not just along for the ride.
Exactly. Stay informed. Ask questions. And support the companies and the ideas that you believe in. This digital world is changing, and it's up to all of us to decide what it looks like.
That's a great point. So here's something to think about. What if this whole thing with Google, what if it's just the beginning? What if this is just the first domino to fall and it leads to a whole new internet?
Now, that is a question worth asking. That's something to think about,
Yeah.
because it could really change everything. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content.
Bye.